Welcome campers. In today's video we're going to be adding some strength to the unibody with some rear inner unibody stiffeners from T&M Metal Fab. Stay tuned. Alright, so before we get started on actually installing the inner rear unibody stiffeners, I'll open up the box super quick just to show you guys what's inside. Underneath the shipping label, he did include some stickers. That is the website to the stiffeners. We'll open this up super quick and show you what's inside. We got a bunch of packing peanuts. That's going to cause a mess. I actually ordered two things from them. I'll have two separate videos on them too. But here is the, I'm guessing this is the driver's side inner stiffener that, you know, makes up for the tubes for the gas tank that go to the gas tank. And here is the passenger side. It's a 10 gauge steel, so it's pretty beefy. I guess it's cold rolled, so it's stronger than just straight up 3/16. That's what I was told on the phone at least. So it'll make easier welding this 10 gauge to the 16 gauge unibody instead of welding 3/16 where we're popping holes in it all the time and, you know, I'm gonna have to heat it up and all that. So I will be installing those, and then here's the other things that I bought that I will be making a separate video on, that when the time comes I will have a link in the description. This is their steering box stiffeners. So this will be a stiffener that goes on the inner unibody rail for the steering box, and this is a steering box spacer. So I got this for the driver's side and this for the passenger side as a set. And I got all this from the T&M Metal Fab. The guy's super awesome. I talked to him on the phone. He seemed like a great guy. And I did talk to him on Facebook, which I will have a link to their website and their Facebook down below in the description. I talked to him and he hooked me up with a discount code for all of you guys. The code is 2A Overland, all one word. No spaces, no underscore, no nothing, just 2A Overland in all caps for 10% off. I think that is for everything on their website. So that's a super awesome code that I will have that in the description also. But I'll put these to the side. I'll get these the rear unibody stiffeners prepped, and then I will prep the area on the inside. And then we'll get these clamped on and start getting them tack welded in, and then I'll fully weld them in. All right, so the first thing I did was completely cleaned them up with brake cleaner just to get any oil or, you know, any of the garbage off of it. The next thing I'm going to do is completely hit them with the grinder. Since all these squares are for the plug holes to weld it to the unibody, I'm going to just completely hit the stiffener with the grinder on both sides. Then from there, I'll completely clean it with acetone, and they should be good to go to start welding in. So the best time to do all these stiffeners is if you have the rear axle pulled out, just to give you all the room underneath to hit it. The reason why I have my axle pulled out is because I was in the middle of doing a axle truss and shock mounts. I will have a link to that video in the description. But I figured since I will have everything pulled out from the bottom of the Jeep, including the gas tank, this will be the best time to do these stiffeners. Honestly, this is the only company that I know of that has the rear inner unibody stiffeners. So I think it's awesome. Like, honestly, The more plating you can have on the unibody, the better, the longer it'll last, and it's a good fix if your Jeep is rusting out in these areas. So that's the reason why I'm doing this. And the first step is to actually just take the stiffener and stick it in the spot and just trace it out. And within all of this area here, there's going to be plug welds everywhere. So I just traced the whole thing, and under pretty much every Cherokee they have like this fake like protective bed liner type stuff that they sprayed on. So if you have a lot of that, or if you have some, the best bet is to just take a blowtorch and a scraper and get it hot and then scrape it off with the scraper. And that's the easiest way to remove any of the bed liner from underneath of the Cherokee. So that's what I'm going to do right now to both sides. I don't have much for some reason. Maybe it was a Friday when they made mine, so they didn't spray as much bed liner underneath. But I know Travis with the white Cherokee, he has a ton of it in some spots underneath his rig. But this is what you should do. This is the easiest way I found out to get a majority of it off, is just the blowtorch and the scraper. Then whatever's left, just hit it with the grinder and completely clean it up. Well, now that you have both sides scraped as well as you can could clean it up with a flap disc, and it should take a lot of it off. That bed liner stuff smells like asphalt, like fresh laid asphalt. So yeah, wear a respirator while you do that, or you're gonna knock, 10 years off your life. But if you don't have a torch or anything, expect to go through a lot of flap wheels, because the flap wheel will get it hot and this stuff will stick in the flap wheel, and you will just burn through all your flap wheels, and that's no fun. But now that we have the bed liner off, I'm going to crawl under here with a flap wheel and just completely clean it up. And then after that, hit it with some acetone on both sides, and it should be ready to start laying out the stiffeners and get them bent into place and then tack them up. So now that I got it completely cleaned up, it is time to put the stiffener in place and just see if it's true to fit or if I have to bend it at all, and just see what's going on with it. All right, so now that we're gonna put it in place. And as you can see, in some spots it does fit flush, but some spots it needs to be cut and bent. So it needs to be cut and bent in just so it sits flush on the unibody on the inside. Once it sits completely flush on the inside, we could weld a few of them, and then it'll be to the point where I have to hit this with a hammer to bend this flush with the unibody frame on the bottom, and then I can weld it on the bottom. So like an idiot, I just noticed that you don't really need to cut relief cuts along the front of the stiffener at all. It has the relief cuts already in the bottom. So yeah, I just did all that cutting and hammering for, almost no reason up top, when I could have just hammered it on the bottom and called it good. What I do like about these two is all of the plug welds it has. There's so many. They even have some on the bottom too, and then these are the holes for, bolts for whatever. And then these are the holes for the bolts for your bumper, and then it has plug welds right around it too. So these will not be going anywhere on your inner unibody. And sorry for the sound of the welder in the background. I'm about to get to welding the passenger side stiffener on. Well, I got a majority of them tack welded. I just need to tack weld these right here, and then the clamps will come off, and I will fully weld in all of the plug welds. And then from there, just take the bottom piece, hammer it flat, and once it's hammered flat, tack weld that in place, and then fully weld in those plug welds, and you are done. I will finish up this passenger side, and then from there, we will move over to the driver's. Well, all of the plug welds are fully filled in. Some of them welded like crap, but I think what the problem was the inside of the metal that contacts the inner unibody frame was dirty. So it was just reacting with the welder and the gas and just popping and melting, and it sucked. But I'm going to clean the other stiffener up completely and see how it works. But all of these plug welds are filled in. We're not going to have any issues with that. That's not going anywhere. So I'm happy with it. So definitely use the relief cuts. I mean, I just used the relief cut with a clamp, and it pulled it right into place, nice and snug. On a majority of these, I'm going to use one more clamp right here just to pull it extremely tight to the unibody, and from there this entire side will be held on with 3 clamps, and it'll be extremely easy to get these welds. And I hit both sides with the grinder and completely cleaned the unibody and the stiffener with acetone, and I hope that makes the difference so it's not popping and melting and everything like that. Alright, I'll apologize now for all the welder fan noise in the background. I know it's loud, but cleaning both sides of the stiffener and then hitting both sides with acetone and the body is a world of difference. No, not as much popping, or not really any popping. No, just random melting. I mean, it took me maybe 2 minutes to tack weld all these. And now it's time to take the clamps off. I'll burn all these in. Then we're going to call it a day, and in the morning I'll knock this out, and you know, we'll see the final product. Alright, well, we got everything tacked and all the plug welds done up. The stiffener's in there. It's just a little hard to get this right here. So once I get the bottom welds and plug welds fully put in, I'm gonna hammer the crap out of this and get this as flush as possible so I could get some of that welded. So my plan is to take a floor jack with a piece of wood to push it flush, and I'm gonna tack weld it on the outside just so it sits as flush as possible to the bottom, so then I can get to those plug welds, get those welded in, and then I will get as much of this welded as possible on the outsides. And yeah, I got to do that to both sides, and then we are officially done with these inner rear unibody stiffeners. All right, the plug welds are done underneath. This little guy, we're not going to talk about that little guy. I ran out of gas halfway through welding it, and I didn't realize it, so it looks like garbage. But with all the little stitch welds up top that I did to hold that stiffener on, I was able to connect all of them. And once I hit that with the grinder and clean it up, that's going to look good. But the passenger side, or the driver's side, is completely done. Now it's time to move on to the passenger. All right, I got the little stitch welds all together for the top of the stiffener where it connects to the outer stiffener. I'm going to connect all these together and then I will weld the plug welds underneath. Well, I got these stiffeners completely welded on the outside, the plug welds on the bottom, and whatever touch-ups I had to do on the inside. So now it's at the point where I cleaned it up with acetone, and now it's time to paint and button this thing up. Well, after a coat of spray paint, it is all done. I am excited to have this done. It fully, builds up the unibody, so I have unibody stiffeners front to rear, almost outside and inside now. And they call us frameless and shameless, but now we're just shameless. And on that note, you guys, thank you so much for watching. If you've gotten this far, I really appreciate it. Like the video, that helps us out a lot, and this project was a little difficult, but it made it easier having everything pulled apart. Comment down below if you guys would pick up the T&M Metal Fab inner unibody frame stiffeners. I think it's an awesome upgrade for the price. And also, if you haven't yet, please subscribe to the channel so you can stay tuned for more of our DIY projects like this one, our trip videos, and our product reviews. And also, I do have that 10% discount through T&M Metal Fab. It is 2A Overland in all caps. And I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Have a good one, you guys. Bye.